Now, how could you not recognize a Pyrex pattern? Because I don't collect Pyrex. Hi, this is Patrick with Trusty Huckster Mercantile with another haul video. This is my second haul video in the revised concept of haul videos. Basically, it's just me trying to catch up with all of the postings I need to get up onto Etsy from a collection of inventory that I had been building when I first started doing resale a few months ago. So this one is special edition, is going to be covering glass. I have been interested in glass for quite some time. I've had a private or a personal art glass collection that I've had for 20 to 30 years. And there's a couple pieces that are somewhat valuable, mostly modern. I had never really gotten into vintage glass until I started looking into vintage as resale. And in the short period of time that I've been doing that, I've gone from a swung glass collection of vases from 0 to I think I've got about 15 now. I started a collection of figural glass flower frogs, which I absolutely love, and some other smaller pieces. And so I'm always on the lookout for it just because I like glass, and I also really enjoy researching and really enjoy learning about particularly the vintage and the Depression glass. I know that in some cases glass isn't super collectible, like clear glass is not super collectible, but I still find it interesting, and in some cases you can pick it up really inexpensively. So if you're looking to start a collection, don't let people scare you off. If you like the looks of clear glass, collect clear glass. You can do it inexpensively, and things change all the time. So people that are paying big bucks for specialty glass may turn around and want clear glass in 10 or 20 years because suddenly that'll be what's popular. So always buy with your heart. I'm doing that to build my own collections, and I also, to a certain extent, do that for Trusty Huckster Mercantile. I want to enjoy handling these pieces. I want to be able to enjoy photographing them. I want to enjoy researching them. And the only way you're going to do that is if you actually are buying items that you personally care about. So this again should be a relatively short video. I do have a couple different pieces that I picked up, some just within this last week and others that have just been waiting to post. One of the first ones, I'm going to cheat a little bit and go into Hazel Atlas Milk Glass Platonite. This is a set of 4 of the Hazel Atlas yellow apple bowls. Again, this is one of those cases that when I picked them up, I had no idea what they were until I started researching them and discovered Hazel Atlas. I've heard, I think it's Scott from Old Curiosity Shop says that Hazel Atlas marks almost everything. Well, I'm going to guess this is the example of the almost, because this is not marked. Maybe it's not Hazel Atlas, but all the examples I could find look just like this, and they were all marked as Hazel Atlas. So if it's on the internet, it must be true. I am trying to research a little bit more, but these are not particularly valuable. From what I can tell, there's no such thing as reproduction. So I'm going to go by these are Hazel Atlas. If there are other versions of them and you can tell the difference, I would love to learn more. But regardless, this is a set of 4. Pick these up for $1 a piece, so $4 in total. From the history of what was selling in 2019, according to WorthPoint, throughout the year, there were only 4 listings of sales of these bowls. 3 of those listings actually were of colored versions of them, which I didn't even realize it was a thing. So this is the yellow one. There was only 1 listing that sold on WorthPoint for all yellow. It was earlier in the year, August. It was a set of 6 that sold for only 20 bucks. So they're not particularly valuable. Looking at what's available right now on Etsy, because I only sell on Etsy at this current time, so I'm most concerned about what I'm competing against in the Etsy world. There are 9 listings of the yellow bowls, and they are ranging in fairly wildly. In most cases, they're not including shipping because a set of 4 of these will be a little bit heavy. So they're falling between $6 and $16 a piece. I'll probably be happy if I can get $3 to $4 a piece. Again, I've got $1 each into them. If I can get 4 times my money, you know, I would enjoy it. I've enjoyed doing the research to begin with. Probably enough research to know that I'll probably never buy these again. But they're nice. I'd like to be able to flip them and get them out of my inventory. So I'll be able to putting those on. I'll have to debate whether to include shipping in them. I feel this is something that Jeffrey from Real Nifty Vintage talks about quite a bit. I do feel that putting free shipping onto your pieces is a good idea. Yes, I will admit from the reseller perspective, there have been a couple of times where I've gotten very, very burned. That collection of glass going to Alaska nearly wiped me out, but I still made money. I just did not make as much money as I probably could have. But then the flip side is I've had stuff, some really expensive pieces that ended up, and heavy pieces that ended up shipping to within Chicago, which is less than an hour from me. I could have driven it there. So I think in the end, it does kind of balance itself out. There is a way to track your sales. And I will say, I find it interesting that a disproportionate amount of my sales or number of my sales are going to California. It's like they all know I'm giving them free shipping, and so they're looking for that. Everyone's a little bit different. So I would like to put these on with free shipping if I can. If not, you know, put them on the same as what most of them are doing, maybe for $3 a piece plus shipping, and be on the low end of the listing and see if I can get rid of them. Another item that I've had for quite a while, and this is defined as really quite a while because it was originally a piece of my personal glass collection. As I've started adding some of the other pieces, both in glass and in porcelain, I've had to readjust what I can put on display. And this was a very inexpensive piece that I picked up. Apologize for the reflection of my ring and plus the overhead lights. This was an inexpensive piece that was never particularly valuable in my collection. You could see it was a seamed piece. It is not vintage in the traditional sense. I picked this up in the 90s, so from the Etsy perspective, it does qualify as vintage, so I will be listing it. Probably going to list it for $10. There's no way I paid much more than that. It was a mass-produced piece, but it is an attractive piece, and I've actually proudly displayed this for quite some time. It's just at this point, I now have better quality products, and one of the things I never particularly liked is that this seam was so prevalent on both sides, the front and the back. It always disturbed me, so I was always trying to display it in a way that you wouldn't see that. But I am selling that. I should have an interesting time trying to photograph that. But again, that'll be going up on Etsy probably for $10 plus shipping. Okay, so that's the old stuff that I had. Everything else I actually have picked up very recently. One of the pieces I'm kind of excited about, I just recently joined the, and I hope I get this right, the 20s, 30s, 40s Glass Club? Glass Collector Society. I'm sorry, I can't remember their name. I will put the link in the notes. It's a local glass collector society of 20s, 30s, and 40s. Imagine that. So I know that that's some part of its name. I've actually offered to assist them in doing some of their social media. They've got a big show coming up in March. Going to attend my first meeting in February. Really excited. And the theme of the February meeting is actually Depression Glass that is accented with precious metals. A concept that maybe I vaguely had been aware of, but not something I had seen a lot in the wild. And not kidding, just at one of the one at the Goodwill where I picked up a couple of other pieces I talked about in the last video, and I came across two pieces of glass that were metal accented. So this one has the silver overlay, and doing a little bit of research, I paid $4 for this piece. Doing a little bit of research, Google Lens is my new best friend. I cuss at it a lot, but in this case, it truly did come to my rescue because I found this exact image, this exact piece of glass with this exact overlay as a Duncan and Miller piece of glass. The pattern itself with this three-piece handle or three-segment handle is called Canterbury. There is also a teardrop version, which had me go down a rabbit trail for a little while, or a rabbit hole for a little while. But from what I can tell, the teardrop is the circles start large, but then they get smaller. So this is very symmetrical in the handle, and where the teardrop is asymmetrical, so it's big and then it gets smaller and kind of goes along the rim. It's very cool looking, and this has been misattributed in a couple of the postings. But this is Canterbury and the silver overlay with this exact pattern, because there are other versions of the overlay. That one is called Blossom Time. So I did a little bit of digging on that one. There have been no recent sales of this exact dish. There have been some sales of the Canterbury, some sales of the Canterbury with a different silver overlay, but there is one listed right now on Ruby Lane for $47. So not a particularly valuable piece. Ruby Lane is going to be particularly higher end selling prices than something like Etsy. But it at least gives me a little bit of a target that, you know, at that level of collector, that they're still only looking for 47 bucks. So this will probably be something I would list somewhere around 30. There are a couple pieces listed on Etsy right now with the gold overlay, which I'm not sure which is more attractive or which is more popular. Those pieces were ranging from 10 to 30 bucks plus shipping and handling. So I think if I did this around 30 bucks including shipping, I think I might have a pretty good chance of doing that. But there's also the possibility I may take this to the show and just donate it to their raffle. So we shall see. But if I do that, I may be doing it with this other piece because I found two pieces. That one I was able to do quite a bit of research and find some details on. This one I did not. So this is a much larger bowl. You can kind of see, you can see the pattern actually on the reverse quite a bit better. But you can also see right there on the edge is the word sterling. So this overlay actually very specifically states that it is a sterling silver overlay. It's a 3-segment overlay. And just from the remedial horticultural knowledge that I have, that to me looked like a trumpet vine. So I did do a little bit of searching on this. It is a higher end piece because I did find the mold marks are on here, but only one of them is remaining. The rest of them have been polished off. So it was something that somebody put a little bit of time in there, which is no surprise. If you're going to put silver on it, you want it to, it's going to be sitting out. People want to make it look nice. Doing that type of research, again, using Google Lens and using the concept of this being a trumpet vine, I did come across a reference that Houze glass used that design. But when I went through the Houze pattern book and went online, I could not find a handle that looked like this. To me, this does have fairly deco lines to it. It's got the recessed pedestal. It's got the radiating bars coming off, and then a much more pointed handle, like almost a 5-point handle on the end. Again, I could not find any examples of that. So I'm not exactly sure what it's worth. Probably worth a little bit more than Duncan and Miller. But I can list the Duncan and Miller on Etsy with quite a bit of detail because I found some of that research. This one is going to be doing a lot of just generic keyword searches, and I'm not sure I will have much success on that. So I do know that they always take donations for their raffles. That's part of the fundraiser for their meetings. So if I would donate something, maybe I'd donate this one. Looks like a fairly impressive piece. Maybe they could educate me a little bit before it gets swallowed into their raffle. So if I ever find another one. Not exactly my style or my taste, but this definitely fell into a category like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go to a meeting. They're going to talk about this. I want to learn about this. And I actually found it very interesting doing some of that research in advance. And this piece I found, again, at that same Goodwill for $5. So I figured I really couldn't go wrong. Not sure based on what I saw that they, again, sell for huge amounts of money. But it was still a fun piece to pick up. Another fun piece to pick up this was at a different Goodwill. This was later in the week. And it's a Goodwill. This is the Goodwill in DeKalb. And I don't know if it's because it's a university town, if, you know, parents are giving stuff to their kids and then the kids get rid of it as they leave school, whatever. I've never left, you know, knock wood, I've never left the DeKalb Goodwill without something in my cart. And this was no exception. So this was this little dessert custard sherbet cup that I just thought had a really nice pattern to it. Looked vaguely familiar, but I had no idea why. And there was no markings. I paid 99 cents for each. I got 4 of these. Once again, Google Lens to the rescue. And several of you are probably screaming at your computer right now, how could you not recognize a Pyrex pattern? Because I don't collect Pyrex. I've had one or two pieces and never knew what to do with them, and I actually gave one away as gave a Cinderella bowl away, the larger one actually, in a Secret Santa giveaway. So I just don't know what to do with it all the time. So I picked these up without knowing what it was, but as Google Lens told me, it is Pyrex. It is the Pink Gooseberry pattern. Several of these are listed. They ended up, there were 6 sales listed just for 2019, so just over the past year. And in all cases, the set of 4 was typically selling around 30 to 35 bucks. Now, what I discovered in doing the research is evidently this is also supposed to have an underplate. Now, I did not see anything with this at the time I purchased them. If I had, I would have gotten them because clearly it would have been a set. But I'll give you another example in a minute that sometimes things don't stay together at any Goodwill, but I've specifically had this at this one. So if they had the glass plates, they may have been, I may just have missed them. But I thought these were really sweet. Even these selling by themselves as a set of 4, again, we're selling between 30 and 35 bucks just within the last couple of months. If they had the underplates though, that will jump to 70 to 80 bucks. So the plates are just as valuable as the dishes themselves. Surprisingly, at least to me, because again, I'm not particularly knowledgeable on Pyrex, but I thought Pyrex marked everything. The 2 or 3 pieces I've had, even the lids are marked. So I was a little surprised that these did not have any markings on them whatsoever, but clearly that was what the pattern was. So it's a pink gooseberry pattern. It is a set of 4. There's only one listing on Etsy right now, and that is for a set of 6 with the underplates, and that is listing for 75 bucks. So I should be able to list the 4 glass dishes. They're not particularly heavy, so they won't be expensive to ship. Probably list them in that $35, $40 range with free shipping, and should still be able to compete against the one listing that exists on Etsy. But as I mentioned, there was another example of another bowl that I found, or set of bowls that I found at that same Goodwill, which was another piece of glass. This one, be perfectly honest, when I first saw it, never even crossed my mind that this was Depression Glass. This was just, to me, I mean, it has the shape of, the old chip and dip type thing, but it is in amazing condition. Like, this has been wrapped in tissue paper since it was made. All of that little, these are dimensionals, slightly, slightly raised patterns. Not a single one of them is flaked off or cracked or done anything to them. And it is signed. So you have the signature right alongside the edge of the garland, Todd. So I did a quick search while I was at Goodwill, found Todd Depression Glass, and discovered that this was supposed to be a 3-tiered chip or condiment tower, for lack of a better term. And so but it would have had a stand, and these were set in there. Even with the stand, this was when I was on eBay. It had not sold for a lot of money. I want to say it sold for like 25 or 30 bucks, even with the stand. So it's not like the stand made it suddenly super valuable. It just suddenly made these bowls have a purpose. So I carried around these bowls. I didn't have a cart yet when I found these. I was carrying them, looking at everything that looked metal that I could find to see if it could be assembled into the image that I found on eBay. And unfortunately, I could not. I even asked one of the people that worked there, because based on the color of the tag, it had just gone out that week. So, maybe the possibility was it had just been placed that day. Asked if he knew anything about it. And he's like, yeah, things get separated. You never know. So I looked around, never found it. Oh, well. I did pay $2 a piece for these, so $6 in for the set. Again, even with the stand, it was only selling for like 25 or 30, so I'm not going to make huge amounts of money on these. But I did find there were no 2009 sales of just the glassware, but there was one sale in 2018, which was the set of 3 glasses for 25. And they seem to always be in a set of 3, so I don't know if they were always sold with that stand. I'm trying to think of, I don't think I saw any other listings that had like a set of 4. So it does appear that they were more of a condiment bowl that was maybe part of a set as opposed to a actual dessert bowl or something that would be part of a dinnerware service. There are no listings on Etsy, so the world is my oyster with an R in every month. But I'll probably be able to sell these for around 25, 30 bucks, maybe plus shipping if I can. They're just really good looking pieces. And since there's no competition on Etsy, this just really sweet, it's a pinkish color. I think if I can find somebody to land on it with the right search terms, I'll be successful selling those for a good price. And it was glass day at Goodwill. That wasn't my intention, but I was successful. And so the other piece that I picked up at that same Goodwill was this pair of bowls. Not 100% sure what they're for. If I only had one, I would have again assumed, well, maybe it was supposed to sit in a ring or something. There was maybe a bigger version that would make it a chip and dip set. But there's a weird hint to this one. You can see it right there. Is a piece of skewered shrimp. Then you've got little skewered meatballs. There's all these cocktail glasses, or the lemon or orange wedge. This is not designed necessarily with a pattern that would represent chips and dip. You know, this, doing a little bit of research, I'm not even gonna say I did a little, I did a lot of research on this. Google Lens was getting mad at me. I was taking pictures of every individual image on here, trying to find something. I did find another example of these on an Etsy UK listing that had expired, but from what I could see, they even didn't know what it was. They were calling it a shrimp cocktail bowl. I don't know if that's the case or not. Shrimp cocktail bowls, from what I did some more research on that, this would get filled with ice, and then there would be another bowl that would be somehow suspended or set into this, and then that's what would hold your cocktail sauce, and then you'd hang the shrimp off that taller piece. So it's possible. This is a fairly wide bottom that you might be able to find something that would fit in there. But this one is not signed. I did searches under Culver, under Libby, saw Colony Glass one reference. I could not find this pattern. So I put this out in the ether. If anyone knows what this is, I do want to list these because they're very cool, mid-century modern, very Mad Men. This pattern is really cool and appears to be relatively scarce. So if anyone can help me figure out what those are, I would love to be able to post them correctly and so other people can find them. The last item I want to show came from a different, no, I've got two items. Again, glass day at Goodwill. Disney World. Who doesn't love Disney World? This is just this little dish. When I was talking to the guy, he saw what was in my cart or what I had in my hands. I also had this. He said, "Oh, that just went on the shelves today." So this was 99 cents. It's the black glass version of the little souvenir tray that are fairly popular. There were three of the black versions listed or sold in 2019, according to WorthPoint. They sold anywhere from $6.50 to $11. So if I put something in, if I do it like for 15, including free shipping, I've got a pretty decent shot, because there's only two other examples of it listed on Etsy, and one is listed at 15, and one's listed at 27, both of them plus shipping and handling. So one of them's trying to get a lot of money out of that. There was another version of this, which is clear glass and a little bit more of a blue background. I'm dark. I liked this one. Not that I had a choice, it's the only one I had. I do like this one, though, better than the blue. The blue one tends to be a little bit more prevalent. I don't know if that's just because that would be what was purchased more often. Again, I'm not going to say this is necessarily rare or scarce, but there are only a handful of listings on this one compared to the blue one, and so I'm basing all of my comps based on the other black versions. And it's in really good condition. It's got a little bit of the gold trim to it. It's all in perfect condition, no cracks, no chips, just a cute dish. Okay, now to the final thing. So the last thing I was at a different store, a place I'd never been to before. It also happened to be in DeKalb. It is a consignment store. And let's see if I can make the mirror go less crazy, trying to take without showing my entire house. So this, I'm going to blind I don't know how to do this. This is a Homco, made in the USA, plastic, porthole style, convex. There's actually a curvature to the mirror. convex mirror in a Federal style. I've seen it listed as Federal, porthole, a couple different things. It was $4. And what I was fascinated by, and the main reason I picked it up, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it's got the Roman numerals here. And I know a lot of people say they struggle with their Roman numerals. I would learn a couple quickies. MCM is always going to represent 1900. So that's always typically going to be the beginning. If you've got something with something other than that, it's 1800. Well, yay you. And then this is actually MCM XL, which represents 40, because L is 50 and X before it means you subtract 10. So MCM XL 5. This is from 1945. I didn't know Homco even existed at that point. And looking at this is plastic. This isn't Bakelite. This isn't anything fun. This is plastic. This is what we were using plastics for the year the war ended. Okay. But that also explains its style. Federal, you know, very Americana. World War II is ending, had ended. So there's a lot of these that sell. There were 6 listings just in the last 6 months that sold them anywhere from $15 to $41. Worth noting, if you continue to struggle with your Roman numerals, be aware there's another version of this one that's called a Sirocco that's also from Homco. This one has the 2 wings of the eagle are removed or above the rest of the frame. That one, it's more of a swooping eagle, so one of the wings touches the frame. That has a whole separate set of comps, so just make sure as you're looking at that you're looking at the right thing. That one, I think, came out, if I remember right, I think it came out in the late 50s or early 60s, so significantly later than this one. So not a particularly valuable piece, but again, $4 for something that was made in 1945. And it's Homco, definitely a name that people, Home Interiors, definitely a name that people recognize from much later. The fact that this is something that they did early, I thought was fascinating. So again, there's three listings right now, $44 plus shipping, $52 which includes shipping, and a $30 plus shipping. So there's already 3 listings on Etsy. I've only got $4 into it. If I could, get this around $35 including shipping, I would be thrilled. So I'll do a little bit more research on that, but that'll be going up. That again should be fun to try and get pictures of. Hello. But that was my last piece of glass. I cheated a little bit on this one, but I didn't know what other category to put that in. So again, this is Patrick with Trusty Huckster Mercantile. Thank you so much for watching this video. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Etsy. You've already found our YouTube channel, so if you made it this far, I appreciate it if you give a thumbs up to the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe, comment, share with your friends. Everything is appreciated. And let me know how you like this new format. Do you like the shorter videos? Do you like the themed videos? I'd like to hear what you got to say. So thanks again. This is Patrick signing off. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.